Hi, I'm Sarah Salter, and today we're going to be talking about behavior management and social skills. We'll be referencing the book How to Reach and Teach Children with Challenging Behavior by K. L. Otten and Jody L. Tuttle. Part 1. So what's the problem? So today it's more common for students who have problems in social emotional behavior to be sent to disciplinary actions or suspension, and this is because teachers may not know how to handle the situation. Evidence backing this up is that disciplinary actions or suspension often reinforce problem behavior, and this is because students who display problem behavior often do not want to be in school. It's a reflection of that. Therefore, educators believe that they need more education on how to manage challenging behavior, and students do better academically when behavior and social emotional skills improve. So positive behavior supports. So the Office of Special Education's Technical Assistance in Positive Behavioral Supports define positive behavior supports, or PBS, as an application of behaviorally based systems approach to enhance the capacity of schools, families, and communities to design effective environments that improve the link between research-validated practices and the environments in which teaching and learning occurs. Research on PBS. Our PBS promotes flexibility while respecting scientific practices, and it values gained experience from qualitative research methods, which include naturalistic observation and case studies, and is an invaluable systematic data source used to guide and evaluate intervention. The three-tiered model for positive behavior support. So this is, we're going to focus on the behavioral instruction side. So down here, this first tier, this is where all students fit in. 80 to 90% of students, or mostly 80% of students, stay in this category. This is where it's going to be all settings. It's just going to be universal interventions. Up here in this yellow category, 15 students make it up to the, or 15% of students make it up to this category. This is where we're going to need some more interventions, behavior interventions for students. But up here is where it gets risky. This is for high-risk students. This is where intense, durable procedures and interventions are going to take place. Only 5% of students make it up into this red tier. And then for an FBA, what's an FBA? The purpose is to determine why problem behavior is occurring, so that we can prevent and intervene and put an effort to increase effectiveness and efficiency. The concepts of FBA are the setting events. So you know it's going to be a bad day when what? When this happens, when it's a rainy day. So what's the trigger? So it could be something internally, it could be something that's a smell, is there something buzzing? What is happening to make this problem behavior occur? And how are we going to maintain the consequences? So what's a student going to get out of not displaying problem behavior? So the FBA process. So first, at the top part of this first page is where we just write their general information: date of birth, name, age, and then we go down to the behavior. This is where we're going to write what the behavior is. Is it the first time? Then we're going to go down to when. So when is it happening? And specify what set it off, or what are the set-offs. Up at this second page. So where's the problem behavior happening? And we have to describe when or where it's happening, and why it's happening. So who is it most likely to happen around? And the baseline data. So when does it occur? How often does it occur? How long does this problem behavior occur? And then when. When is this occurring? Is it occurring in the day, during class, in the morning, transition time, recess? And then on this third page, we're going to talk about functional behavior. So we're going to review when is it happening, the student does what, and in order to fix this, we have to do what. And then we're going to talk about replacement behavior. So rather than doing this, I think the student should be able to do this. So we have to think about realistic goals that the student can meet, or that we believe the student can meet for those replacement behavior expectations. So common functions of problem behavior: to receive attention or to get a reaction. So when students want attention, they will seek it in many ways, including negative attention or misbehavior. Two, to get something tangible. Students will obsess over interests and needs and will do anything to get them, including misbehave. Three, to receive power control. If a student feels control or they feel like they want control, they'll do anything to gain that. Four, to communicate feelings, wants, and needs. So a lot of times students with language barriers or speech barriers will act out so you can start to understand what they want, feel, or need. Five, as a result of lack of understanding. When is it difficult for a child to understand what he or she or their peers are feeling, they'll act out because they don't know how to handle that experience. And then six is to escape or avoid something. So if a student doesn't want to be in school, a lot of times they'll do anything they can to get out of the activity that they're supposed to be partaking in. And the bottom line of FBA is it is important to understand the cause of a misbehavior, and we have to consider the behavior and why it's happening so that we can be led to effective and efficient responses and our intervention so we can eventually improve the behavior. A model for intervention is after the functions of a problem and misbehavior are known, it is important to create intervention that will help students to meet and function in a more socially acceptable way. So first we're going to have instructions. So what does that student need to do? What is the goals? How are we going to prevent this student from regressing and going back to their problem behavior? What reinforcements are we going to use? What positive reinforcements are we going to use? And then four, what are the undesirable consequences? What do we not want the students to get back to? And how are we going to encourage them from not reaching that last step for level 4? So my conclusion for part 1 is that it's important to remember that there's underlying reasons for misbehavior. And once we know those, we have to help students learn about their misbehavior, what triggers that, and how to express themselves before this misbehavior occurs. Part 2, lesson planning. So I'm going to talk to you about a lesson that I wrote for kindergarten in the social development domain, and it's geared towards the bottom tier, like we talked about earlier, that green tier for all students, the 80% range. The standards I used were character count standards. I used positive relationships, which is students demonstrate a willingness to alter their attitudes and conduct when necessary, and students understand that the meaningful and lasting friendships often require unselfishness, patience, understanding, acceptance, and loyalty. I also used effective communication, meaning be assertive without being offensive or arrogant. So the first part of my lesson is anticipatory set. Examples of how students can be negatively affect others. So what are the behavior expectations so students aren't acting out? So first, students should be polite and not speak out of turn, and students should listen and do what they need to do to support their peers and friends when it's not their turn. So then what's going to hook students into this lesson? So I wrote singing a song together. If you're friendly and you know it, clap your hands. So everybody should be clapping together, should be singing together. So the objectives. So the learning outcomes. What do I want this lesson to show? So after learning how to maintain positive relationships and handle oneself in hard situations in a non-assertive, friendly way, students should be able to apply this to real-life situations. The key terms are in vocabulary. So I put friendly, positive relationships, and maintain, because we're talking about maintaining positive relationships and how to be friendly in those relationships. We're going to talk about what each of these words mean and how we can apply it to everyday life. So I modeled my standards by reading a book and recording it. This is a very good way for students to learn how to act, and it's a very good attention grabber. It's one that students can get engaged in. So here's the book. Non-Stop Talker by Chris Jones, illustrated by Richard Watson. Lacey Walker was quite a little talker. She liked to talk and talk and talk. Lacey, please stop talking and eat your lunch. chided her mom. Lacey, less talking and more listening, scolded her teacher. Lacey, please quit talking. I can't hear my movie, shouted her brother. Lacey, stop talking and brush your teeth, sighed her dad. Nothing could quiet little Lacey. She talked and talked and talked. But on one gloomy Monday morning, all that talking caught up with her. Lacey Walker lost her voice. She tried to whisper, she tried to shout, she tried to sing, but nothing happened. Lacey moped through breakfast. However, it didn't take her nearly as long to eat since she couldn't talk. Lacey even had time to finish her homework. I'm really on a roll this morning, she thought. Lacey moped on her walk to school. However, Lacey realized her friend Nadine told great jokes and was really funny. Odd that I never noticed that before, Lacey thought. Lacey moped all day at school. However, she finished all of her homework and got a gold star for listening. I've never gotten a gold star before, she thought. That night, Lacey wasn't quite so mopey. She grabbed a snack and watched the monster movie with her brother. He was right, she thought. This movie is awesome. And when her dad came upstairs, Lacey was ready for bed. Her teeth were brushed, her pajamas were on, and she was lying quietly in bed. They even had time to read 2 extra books. The next morning, Lacey woke up feeling great. Not only could she talk again, but she could whisper. She could shout. She could sing. This is the best day ever, Lacey declared. Lacey raced downstairs, talking the entire way. Oh my goodness, I have so much to say, Lacey said. Nadine is hilarious. Gold stars are the best. I like monster movies. But first I'm going to eat my breakfast, Lacey said with a smile. And Lacey quietly ate her breakfast. Her family talked, and she listened. Lacey Walker still liked to talk, and talk, and talk. But she liked to listen once in a while. So this was a good way to show students why it's important to maintain healthy relationships and positive relationships. What was it that Lacey Walker was doing? She was talking all the time. She wasn't allowing others to do that. And that can be problematic because it doesn't give you a chance to really build those relationships, because a relationship takes more than one person. It takes 2. So she didn't have a healthy relationship with her parents or her peers. And towards the end, she learned how to do this, and that's what we are doing too. So guided practice. So the directions of this worksheet say circle the pictures that show good friendships and positive relationship skills and put an X through the ones that do not. So we're going to talk about what is it that makes positive relationships, and what are these pictures showing. So somebody punching, somebody spitting, somebody helping clean up, and reading a book together. What ones of these are good? What's going to help build a positive relationship? And this is something we can talk about, positivity. What does it mean to be positive? So we're going to check for understanding. By doing this, we're going to read and discuss scenarios of bad friendships and relationships. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to say something that is a bad scenario, what a bad display of positive friendships. And we're going to talk about why was this bad? What can we do to fix it? How would you act if you were trying to be positive and maintain a positive friendship or relationship? The independent practice, I was going to keep a checklist, a formative assessment checklist on if students can practice these social skills in their everyday life. The conclusion would be what I have learned. So assessments up, that's how you form a good lesson. The alignment of this lesson is important, and how to interpret character counts. Character count standards, what and how PBS and FBA are and what they're for, and how to use them successfully, and how to engage a lesson plan using the multi-tier system of support. Thank you for listening.